everybody, welcome back to my channel. First of all, I just want to say sorry if the camera angle is not straight. I'm having a really hard time getting the camera or my phone to stay straight, but that's okay. We're still going to be doing a video today. So for today's video, I am going to be filming the Gilmore Girls book tag in honor of this week and next week being the Gilmore Girls Readathon, which, if you have not seen my TBR, I will put it in the cards, which are in one of the two corners. I'm not sure which one. But yeah, I like this tag because I love Gilmore Girls and I love books. So I thought it would be very fitting to go ahead and do that now while the readathon is taking place. And also I wanted to say that I tried to find the original creator's tag to link in the description, but I couldn't find it. Whenever I clicked on anything, it would always come back as a video that has been privated, so I don't think it's any longer available to watch. So I might link some other videos of this that I have watched myself, and I will also put the questions in the description. So with that being said, let's get into the tag, and I have my little notebook here where I wrote down all of my answers. Okay, so the first question is Lorelai. Name a character with a witty or sarcastic sense of humor. So for this challenge, I have Sam from the Diviners. I recently listened to the Diviners on audiobook and it was amazing. I loved all of the characters and the story and just the setting and everything. But Sam is very witty and sarcastic in my opinion, so I felt like he would be a perfect fit for this prompt. The next question is Rory. What is your favorite classic? So for this, I have Phantom of the Opera by Gaston Leroux. I hope that's how you say that. I'm not sure. I read this in like high school. I haven't read it since, but I remember like absolutely loving this book, and I don't remember ever loving a classic as much since. I also really like the movie of this. I've watched the movie more recently than I've read the book, so I really want to reread this sometime soon too. This camera angle is driving me crazy. Sorry if the camera angle changed. I keep trying to fix the camera, but I really just probably need to buy a new tripod. So the next question is Luke, a book that you secretly love but are afraid to admit. And I don't really have anything good for this. So I have an author pretty much that I loved in high school, and I wouldn't say I was even really ashamed to admit it then, but now I don't like her books as much just because they're really conservative in their views about romance and physical touch and just women in general, so that makes me not like them as much. So that's why I'm picking it for this challenge, because I'm a little bit ashamed of that, but not really. But I mean, this is the best thing I had for this challenge. And that author is Melanie Dickerson, and I think this is her first book. It's The Healer's Apprentice. Actually, this is the first book in her fairy tale series or something. She has a few series that are ongoing, but actually this one's probably my favorite out of all of the ones I've read and reread. But still, as I said before, some of the views I guess that come across through these books I don't really stand by anymore, so I guess this is as close as I have come to being ashamed of a book that I like or have liked. So the next question is Lane, a musical character. So for this challenge, I have This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab, and I read this a couple of years ago, and I really want to reread it soon because I really enjoyed this when I read it, and I want to see if I still enjoy it now that I have more critical reading skills, I guess. But Anyways, in this story, August is one of the main characters, and there's like these different kinds of demons and or monsters, I guess, not demons. So the kind of monster that he is, he can steal a soul with song. So I'm pretty sure he plays the violin, but yeah, music is a very like integral part of his life. So the next question is, Dean, your first book love. And for this I have Nancy Drew, which I was obsessed with as a kid. I think I even had like a Nancy Drew / just like mystery themed birthday party one year when I was a kid. And I remember when the Nancy Drew movie came out in theaters, I wanted to go see it so bad, and my parents like made me wait, but they made me wait so long that it was out of theaters because it went out faster than movies normally did over here. I was really upset with them about that. But yeah, I was obsessed with Nancy Drew. I got a lot of the Nancy Drew books from my aunt who had collected some of them when she was a kid. And then just for several years, I would just ask, like I would get a couple for Christmas and or my birthday, and until I got all of the books. And I do have all of the Nancy Drew books now, but yeah. I was obsessed with Nancy Drew, and I loved her just in general, and I loved how like cozy the stories seemed, like, or just I guess the setting, because it's like in the 1950s or something like that. So I always really loved that, and I always wanted her life and her boyfriend Ned. So the next question is Sookie, a book that you devoured, which, by the way, I hate it when people say I devoured this book. Like, ooh, it's like one of those words, like some people hate the word moist. I just hate devoured, especially when it comes to like talking about books or movies or whatever. I don't like it. But anyways, my answer for this question is A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. And this book, it's pretty short, so it's not that hard to read quickly, but I remember I had started it and gotten just like a little bit of the way through the night before, and then the next day I had a lunch break between my classes at school, and so I was like, okay, while I'm eating for 20 minutes, I will read for just that 20 minutes that I'm eating, and then use the rest of my like hour-long break to study or do homework or whatever. But after the 20 minutes were up, I was so like sucked into the story that I just kept reading during the whole lunch break, and then I was thinking about it the whole time during my class, and then as soon as I got done with class for the day, I went home and finished the book. So yeah, I would say I definitely devoured this. So the next question is, Jess, a book you love that gets the most hate. And I'm gonna go with a pretty standard answer for this kind of question, I guess. And I'm gonna go with just anything by Sarah J. Maas. I'm holding up Throne of Glass here, but I do have like a quart of Thorns and Roses, that series, and the rest of the Throne of Glass series, but I'm just gonna hold this one up because I don't feel like holding up all of her books. I feel like there are a lot of people who really love Sarah J. Maas, but there are also a lot of people who really can't stand her writing or her books. So I definitely think that her books get a lot of hate, and probably the most hate out of any books that I've loved, because I do stand on the side of I really like her books. Even though I know they're problematic, but I still they're so enjoyable for me, and that's usually what I base my opinions on when it comes to the books I read, not for school or work, just because if I'm gonna read outside of school or work, it's gonna be for fun. So I'm gonna, like, I guess rate them and review them based on my enjoyment, more so than like rating them critically, if that makes sense. The next question is Miss Patty, a book that was ruined by the hype, which I kind of don't understand why that question goes with her name. But so for this question, I have Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor, and it's not the hype surrounding this series that ruined this series for me, but it's maybe just the hype surrounding Strange the Dreamer, because I did read this after Strange the Dreamer was already out, and I had been hearing everybody say great things about Strange the Dreamer, which I still have not read yet. Need to read that. But anyways, I had heard a lot of hype surrounding just Laini Taylor's writing in that, and I did enjoy this series, especially the first one, but the second two were a lot harder for me to get through, and they were a lot slower, I guess. And I think part of the reason why I didn't enjoy those two as much is just because I had expected any Laini Taylor book to be a perfect fit for me, but it wasn't perfect for me. The next question is Emily Gilmore, an expensive book. So I don't really buy expensive editions of books at this point in my life, and the book that I have for this question isn't like the most expensive, and it makes sense why it's so expensive, but it's these books are like the most expensive ones I own, I'm pretty sure, and those are the illustrated Harry Potter editions. I have the box set of the first three, so that was super exciting, and I want to buy the fourth one whenever it comes out, but I haven't done that yet. They have these like super glossy pages and the illustrations, and it's like a coffee table like size book, so it makes sense, and I'm not upset about that at all or anything. And so the last question is Paris. Name an uptight character? And for this challenge, I have Hermione from Harry Potter. Now, Hermione isn't, I wouldn't say she's like uptight in a super negative way, but there are points throughout the series. I'm putting the book down just because it's so heavy. But anyways, there are points throughout this series where she just seems really uptight, like when it comes to SPEW, and like, I forget which book it's in, but when she says, "We could die, or worse, get expelled," or something like that. Yeah, so those kinds of things are what I am thinking of when I choose Hermione for this question. She is not uptight like in the same way that Paris is, I would say, but I was having a hard time of thinking of really like uptight characters, so I thought that she would fit. Oh, something that just occurred to me that I could put in is Billy from Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And the reason I think he would be a good fit for this question is that in the band, he always was like trying to micromanage everybody's part in the band, and he always felt like he had to be in control of that, so that's why I think that he's uptight. So that's it for this tag video. I hope you enjoyed it. It was really fun to read, and if you are participating in the Gilmore Girls Readathon and you need a break from reading, I hope this can be something enjoyable for you to stay like in the theme of the readathon. But yeah, let me know if you have done this tag, or if you would be interested, or like how you might answer these questions. And if you're participating in the Gilmore Girls Readathon, what you're planning on reading, or what you are reading since it is already started. But yeah, that's all I have for today, so thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye! Woo!